Hi there and welcome. This is Jennifer McGuire. Today I have a product release close-up video for you, but the video is also packed with lots of card examples. This shows the newest release from Ellen Hudson called Essentials by Ellen. Most of these stamps are designed by my friend Julie Ebersol, and there are lots of great products. So you can see a few of the many examples I'm going to show you along the way. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some fun techniques with some of these products. So first, I'm going to go through the products and then show you them in use. The purpose of this video is to help you decide if any of these products are ones that you may want to have. Sometimes I think great releases like this one can be overwhelming, so I think it's helpful when you kind of break it down and show you some ways to use them. This release includes some stamp sets and die sets. The first stamp set is a larger one. This one's called Stay Golden, and it has lots of pineapple images, but also some floral images. I really like the sentiments in this. The font is beautiful, and there are many sentiments that you could use without these images also. There are a lot of pineapple sets out there today, but I think this has a unique look and the sentiments really set it apart. I think it's fun that it says, when life hands you pineapples, and when you open it up, you can put make pina coladas. Lots of fun stuff here. Here's an example of a card that I made using this stamp set along with a few other products that I'll talk about later. Just something very easy to do. I stamped this with yellow and green inks, added some shading with Copic markers, and then covered it with some Wink of Stella shimmer pen just to kind of jazz it up a bit. Very quick card to create. And of course, there are coordinating dies available for this stamp set also. The next large stamp set in this release is the Mondo Peony, and this is just a beautiful set. I like large floral images because they're great for practicing coloring techniques. It's so much easier to practice on large images than small images. This one would be great for watercolor because it's a gorgeous image that has a lot of detail, so you can keep the watercolor very simple. You can even cut some of the outside petals away from that large center flower to make it smaller if you wanted to. And of course, there are coordinating dies available. Now, the dies come in their own pocket. I just put mine in the back of the stamp pocket, so I have them stored together. Now, a lovely stamp set that is nice for just general sentiments is the Lovely stamp set. On the bottom, it says, if flowers could hug, I would send you 1,000. That's a great sentiment to go with the many floral images I have on hand. I also love this sentiment that says, you are enough. I think that's a great encouragement sentiment, especially for a fellow mom. These are beautiful, lots of different greetings in here, and I even use that tiny hello stamp on a card that you'll see later in this video. Another of my favorites from this release, and I'm going to say favorites a few times because this is a great release and there are a lot of good ones in it, is this Stay Salty stamp set. This is a tall stamp set, so there are many images. I really like the font and the fun, creative sentiments on it. I also like the images. They're fun to color, and I have a few examples using them. I look forward to taking the little lifesaver and wrapping actual red string around it so it looks very realistic, and then stamping "You're a Lifesaver." There also is that adorable little mermaid tail, a lot of little scenes that you can build together with this. You can use this in many ways, and you can also use it for masculine cards very easily. I wanted to show you a couple cards I made with this stamp set. Here's the first one. I die cut a circle from some Bristol smooth cardstock. It's a very smooth cardstock, and they work great. That cardstock works great with the Spectrum Noir shimmer pens. It allows them to blend easy, almost like a watercolor with a little bit more control. So you can see the great blending that I got there. I thought this was a fun and playful card, and I used some stitching dies on the background, which I'll show you a little bit later in this video. Using the same stamp set, I got a completely different greeting here. This one's kind of playful. I plan to give this one to my brother. And again, I did really quick faux watercolor with Spectrum Noir shimmer pen, so you can see that shimmer on there. Again, this is the Bristol Smooth cardstock, which really allows for blending with these pens or any other kind of water brush kind of pens, such as Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. So there's another example for you. And again, I'll talk about that stitched background a little bit later. And here's a quick look at the coordinating die set. You can see it cuts out pretty much every image from that stamp set. Next up, we have a stamp set called Bearware. There are a bunch of cute little images that you can team up with any little critter stamps that you may have or team together to create a scene. It was intended to work well with this older stamp set from Essentials by Ellen. This one's called All Inside. So you see this little bear down here? You can use the coordinating die to cut his hands, his arms, so that you can tuck something into his arms. In this stamp set, there are lots of things you can tuck in his arms, but in this bearwear set, there are even more that you can use, including a little basket, an umbrella, a little bunny, even a fishing rod, a balloon, and a jar of honey. Now, to make this even better, they have now also released the Warm Fuzzies stamp set, and there are many clever stamp sentiments that go together with all these things, such as there is a sentiment that says cuddling with you would be perfect right now, so you could do the bear with the little bunny. There is Happy Bear Day, and you can put the balloon in his hand. There is You're a Keeper, and you could do the fishing rod with the little fish hanging off of it. You Brighten My Day, you could put the sunshine in his hands. There's many ways you can use these three sets together, or you could use them separately. Again, the bear one in the middle is an older stamp set. The two on the left and the right are newer. I really encourage you to check out the Warm Fuzzy stamp set because there are many clever sentiments that you can use with other stamp sets that you may already have. And at the end of this video, I'll have some more examples. Real quick, I wanted to show you one that I did. I used the You Brighten My Day image from this stamp set and the sun from the bear stamp set. And I made this very quick card. This one was really fast to pull together. Again, I used those Spectrum Noir shimmer pens so it has some shine, and I put it on a stitch die background, which again, I'll talk about later. These were so much fun to pull together and so quick to do. I love when you've got some good images and sentiments along with a great background. You don't need much else. Okay, this brings us to the Sock Monkey Surprise stamp set. That's the one you see there on the left. This also works really well with the Bearwear stamp set and the Warm Fuzzy stamp set that you see here to the right. But you can create some fun scenes with the little monkey hanging from a balloon or from a kite. You can put different things in his hand. Has some fun sentiments that you can use with it. This is just really fun to use for cards for adults and for kids. I also should mention that the Sock Monkey Surprise stamp set and the Bearwear stamp set have coordinating dies available. Again, they're sold in separate pockets. I just like to take the dies out and put them in the pocket with the stamp set, so I don't need to go searching for them. And I also should mention that the Essentials by Ellen stamp sets and dies come in their heavyweight storage pockets, so you don't have to take the time to go ahead and switch them over to storage pockets. Next, we have the Sunshine Words die set. There are actually two Sunshine Words in here, and I like that they're completely different styles, so you can get a lot out of it. I think it would be fun to die cut several of these and have the words repeating on a tone-on-tone background with maybe a sunshine stamped image in the center. You can really use these for a lot of things and also team them up with the sentiments in that Warm Fuzzy stamp set that I showed you earlier. Next, we have a really fun die set. This is the Silver Lining die set. I am so excited about this one. There are many different images to die cut in here. There are these two sunshine pieces, which I'll show you in a little bit. There are three different clouds with the flat bottom, which I think is fun. You've got the lightning, and then you have raindrops that you can die cut anywhere on a card. Okay, so let me show you some ideas of how to use these sun ray dies. So I cut two from yellow, so you can see how you can use them together or separately. And they cut the rays, but still leave them kind of connected on the end, so you can keep them as one piece and maybe ink them up or just color them, or you can snip them apart and have these separate rays, so you can do each ray maybe in a different color. Now, I talked to Julie. She's the one who designed this, and she was inspired by a card that she had made herself a while back, and she wanted to come up with an easier way to make it. So I told her I would show how to use this die in this video, but I will definitely link to Julie's brilliant card and video here for you to check out. So before I show you how to use these dies, I wanted to show you one more die set in this release, the one that I am most excited about, and that is the Stitching Lines border dies. So check this out. There are lots of stitching dies in here. You can use these individually, or you can use them together, which I plan to do today. None of them actually cut apart paper. They just put these stitching images in it, and they are so much fun. I like that so many are included in this one die set. Now for today's cards, for all the ones I've been showing you, I decided to connect these so I could create backgrounds. So check it out here. You can see how it doesn't actually cut through it, like cutting the paper apart, but it does cut these tiny little marks that create these faux stitching looks. So here is how I create a background of the faux stitching. I have cut all of the border dies apart. They come connected. You just use wire clippers to cut them apart. And I am just taping them back together as close as I can. I have a piece of micro tape here. You could use washi tape or whatever tape you may have. I have the sticky side up, and I'm just laying the dies down right up against each other onto that tape. Once I have them all down, I can go ahead and put 2 other pieces of tape, one at the other end, holding them together there, and then one along the middle. Here are the little wire clippers that you can use to cut those metal dies apart. I just use ones that I got at a jewelry department at a craft store, and they seem to be working great. So I've connected one side. Now I'm going to put another piece of tape on the other side and then a piece of tape in the middle. In this way, I can make sure that they all stay put as we do lots of die cut backgrounds. Okay, now I'm going to zip through a bunch of card examples. I got carried away with these products and I just had a ball making cards. So I'm just going to show them all to you. First, I wanted to show you how I created those rainbowy looking clouds. I'm using the 2 kind of sun ray dies from the Essentials by Ellen silver lining set. And I'm going to cut them from a bunch of different colors of scrap cardstock. This is a great card design to use up some scraps. You can see how the rays all stay connected until you kind of either tear them or snip them apart. After I've die cut those dies from a bunch of pieces and colors of cardstock, I have some Stick-It product. I'm putting this double-sided tape that's very thin and great for die cutting onto some white cardstock. This will be where we form our little sun rays. Now you could use any adhesive here. You could just cut white cardstock and cover it with whatever adhesive you want. I just find this Stick-It adhesive really easy to use and die cut, and it is pretty inexpensive. So I've covered a lot of white cardstock here. All I'm going to do is trim it down so that it's the perfect size to hold our little rays. And now for the fun part. I'm just going to remove the release paper, and now I have that white cardstock with the sticky side up. Again, you could just have covered that with whatever adhesive you want. And I'm just going to cut rays from the different colors of cardstock and piece them together like a puzzle. This doesn't take long to do, and from these few pieces of colored scraps, I can create a bunch of these pieces and then die cut whatever I want from them. And I'm going to show you a bunch of examples. On this piece here, that's more of a square white piece, I'm going to have the rays go in all directions. So I'm going to do double the size so I can die cut a large heart from it. On this one, I'm including a little ray here and there that is some silver glitter cardstock just for some added fun. Now think about this. You could do this from pattern papers. You can do yellows and oranges so it looks like a sun. You can do anything you want with these, and it's just a great way to use up some scraps. As I mentioned, I got carried away. On this one, I'm just showing you how you can put down whatever adhesive you want, and I actually die cut all of my rays from some Tailored Expression felt. It die cut beautifully with these dies, and now I'm just putting some felt rays together. And when you have them pieced together, it's so pretty, that texture on it and how soft it is, and it's perfect to create a cloud, which I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so now we have all these little rectangles or squares covered with these rays. You could use them as is, but the fun thing is to die cut from them. So I'm using some of the flat bottom clouds from the Essentials by Ellen silver lining stamp set, and I'm going to die cut them, and look at those fun little clouds that you get. Julie is so clever. This one is the felt one, and this die cuts beautifully even though there's cardstock on the back. Check that out. And then I used even an older Essentials by Ellen Hello die to die cut from this one, some mixes of pinks and yellow paper. And check out how that ray looks even on a sentiment. It's a great way to kind of add some interest to a simple sentiment. You can even do large hearts. So here I decided to do a large heart and make the rays look like it's coming from the center. The sky is the limit with these dies. Here is a Concord and Ninth Joy die. This is a newer one. I thought it'd be fun to do some letters from some of these little rays. Really fun to just add a little bit of interest, and it doesn't take long at all. So now that we have a bunch of embellishments created, now it's time to create our backgrounds. I'm using those stitching dies that I taped together to create a bunch of fast backgrounds. I'm just using some regular white cardstock, and I'm just running it through my die cut machine with these stitched lined dies taped together. And you can see how quickly you form a background with lots of interest. So between this fun, unique background and those embellishments we made, we can create a pretty simple card with a lot of fun things going on. You can also put these on kind of diagonal along a card and just have some stitched diagonal lines, or just maybe a strip going down the center of a card. Okay, so I created a bunch of backgrounds and embellishments, and I wanted to show you the complete cards. I simply glued them together. So I'm just going to skip ahead to show you the final cards. Here I did a soft pool background with some stitching die cuts in the background. I added a little silver glitter heart and some silver glitter raindrops, and those are die cut from that same silver lining die. And the sentiment is from the Warm Fuzzies stamp set. So you can see all these all go together so nicely. This one is just cardstock with some silver glitter rays. Here I made it look like the stitching lines came from below the cloud, so I only partially cut it through the background to make it look kind of like rain coming down. I think these are some happy get well cards that you can send to a loved one. Here is the heart die cut. I added a smaller heart die cut with a hello sentiment from the Lovely stamp set and did a little bit of stitching die cutting on the background. And then we have the joy. This one's very simple. That's the Concord and Ninth joy die that I used for the sentiment. You could even put a small happy birthday stamped strip right across that if you wanted to, or Merry Christmas, or whatever occasion you want to make this. Probably my favorite of the cards is also the simplest and the fastest to put together, and that's this hello card. I die cut the hello from the little ray pieces that we put together and did the diagonal stitching across it. I really love that diagonal look. Now remember these cards I showed you before? I used colored cardstock with those faux stitching line dies, and check it out. It just adds the right amount of interest to the background. So there you have lots of great products from Essentials by Ellen and some card ideas using them. If you are interested in the products I talk about, I link to them all below in my YouTube description, but be sure to go over to my blog for pictures of all the cards and a giveaway. In the middle is a link to Julie's video about creating those little ray clouds, and also a previous Essentials by Ellen stamp release. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll return again soon. Have a wonderful day.